Got a track guide for the LMP2 at Fuji, no chicane version. This is a track that I believe was on the European Sprint schedule earlier in the season, and then it's on the endurance schedule here in a couple weeks. So I'm really making this for some people that are going to drive it with me that haven't been to the track before, but it's really for anybody. A couple things to consider here. I'm gonna show you the fastest lap. I feel like it ended up being the cleanest, but keep in mind this was 6 or 7 laps into a stint, so I was, you can see the live fuel here. I was down maybe 4 gallons from what max fuel would be. Track temp is, I think, right around, it's gone down a couple degrees since I paused this, but I think it was right around 88 to 90 degrees, somewhere in there. Anyways, this is can be a pretty tricky track. A lot of, I wouldn't call them blind turns, but a couple turns that you just gotta kind of trust what you're doing and what the car is gonna do. So long front straightaway. First thing I'm looking at coming into turn 1 is really when this 150 board passes my A pillar here is where I'm gonna do my heavy braking. So about here, I'm still in the throttle a little bit here, but I should be braking momentarily here. If you go to the start of this rumble strip or the 100 board, you're too late and you're not going to make the turn. Heavy braking. Down to first gear. You can get really far to the inside here, and maybe a later turn in to get a later apex would be better. But you can pretty much aim to try and even hit this cone, and I don't think it gives you an off track. You can see, I am probably all but not hitting it. I guess I'm a little bit further away from it than I thought. But yeah, you can get your right sides onto this green area here, and it is perfectly fine. On exit, I believe to avoid an off track, maybe. Yeah, so you got to keep your right sides. If you're looking at this, you got to keep your right sides on the rumble stripping. If you get your right sides across that, it'll be an off track. I go up to 4th gear here. This is a really fast turn, and you kind of got to trust the car a little bit. I'm doing my braking, I think, between the 50 and 100 boards, so call it artificial 75. I do go down a gear. And then I'm kind of aiming for this cone that's here. This can be pretty tricky to carry max speed through here. But you can see where I'm aiming for the cone. And I pretty much just get my left sides on the far left side of the grass. Cutting this as close as possible is going to allow you to carry more speed through the turn. There's full speed here. And then exit out really wide. And then this is a double apex turn, or at least I treat it as a double apex turn. So I drive in pretty hard in 4th gear, and then I let it drift out a little bit. I can go down to 3rd gear, and then I pick back up the throttle. Kind of keep it middle of the track, and you want to get back to the, maybe not all the way to the right side, but to the kind of middle right, I would call it. You're going to go down to 1st gear here. This is one of the, I guess, blind apexes. So once you start getting into this corner here, there is a little yellow, I call it a death hump, I guess you would call it. It's not quite a turtle, but it's kind of like the spiky rumble strip that you do not want to touch that on any of the ones on this track. And this track has a lot of them. It will damage the underbody, and you will lose some straightaway speed and probably some overall downforce as well. I miss the apex here. In fact, I don't even know if you can, for the slap, I don't know if you can even see. Okay, here it is. I guess it's a small turtle. Ideally, I would get my lefts like right here on the red part of the rumble strip, but I missed the apex here by, honestly, entire car width, half a car width. But first gear, you want to get your power down, exit out wide. You're going to be flat out through here. Alright, the end of this wall here, this little red box here before the 100 board, is where as it's kind of passing by me on the right side, maybe not all the way past the A-pillar, but somewhere in that general area. I go down to third gear. You want to try and get lefts onto the rumble strip here. This is a very, very fast turn in third gear, and if you miss it, it can go not so well. To the inside, you have your red and white rumble strip, but to the far inside of that is a rounded strip that you do not want to touch. If you touch that, it is death. But carrying a lot of speed through here is ideal, but then you also have to make the exit. You don't want to run wide. The curbing on the exit is kind of has like a, I don't know, kind of like a progressive banking look to it, but if you jump over it, you're going to end up in the grass. I'm going to let this just play through full speed and you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, I lied. No, I'm not. So this is the red strip you don't want to hit. I'm going to back up now. And this is kind of what I'm talking about here on the exit. You want to, it'll help kind of keep the car in the track, but if you're carrying too much speed, you'll jump over it and then you end up in the grass and this pavement, yada, yada, yada. I aim for braking at the start of this rumble strip, so that's pretty easy. I'm gonna go down to first gear. This is another one where on the inside you can take a lot of the inside without it being off track. So again, aiming right sides on this green. Kind of aiming for this cone, but you're not going to hit it. Now you want to be patient on the throttle exiting, because if you jump into it too quickly or you miss the apex, you're going to push wide to the left here, and there's two of the turtle things here. You definitely don't want to avoid those. If you like completely blow this turn and you're headed right for them, you may want to just go to the left and go around them on this pavement piece. It'll be a slowdown, but it's better than hitting them. So this turn, and this is, if you look at the little track map up here, it's this kind of odd shape. This little complex here is a little wacky. It's a lot like one of the turns at Circuit of the Americas. If you're familiar with that at all, it's very similar. So I'm looking for the end of this rumble strip, and there's a little box here. I don't even know what it is, truthfully. It's just a white dash. So yeah, that's kind of where I start doing my braking, and I'm going to kind of push the car out wide, maybe to the right middle of the track. Go down to first gear. And I'm going to turn in. And this is another one that is a blind apex. You don't really see what you're hitting for. You just got to kind of trust your turn in. And then what I am aiming for is, hey, another pylon here. Left side's onto the green here. Patient on the throttle. It's hard to push too far to the right here, but it is possible. Again, you don't want to hit those yellow things. and then the final turn. So you don't really have any great visual cues. So it's definitely a lot of feel. I'm going to end up going down to first gear here, and then I'm wanting to, I believe there's a yellow turtle to the inside, or there may even be a cone. You want to try and get as close to that, and then on exit there's 2 turtles you want to avoid. So first gear, yeah, yellow turtle. And then really long straightaway. I'll fast forward that. Don't need to see that. By no means a perfect lap. I'm going to let it play through at full speed. I know sometimes I'm weird. I pause it in the middle of a turn. I try not to do that. I try and let it play through as good as possible, but I don't always do that. A couple things to note here. You'll see it down here at the bottom. I think this is just a VRS setup with added fuel to get max fuel. I think the default, if you look down here at the bottom of the screen, slip is 2, gain is 10. That's what I switched it to. I think default on this setup was 8 and 5. It just allows it to, the rear end to slip a little bit more. I would just stick with the default 8 and 5. If you feel like it's maybe tight or something like that, you can adjust it. As I just do it a little bit to allow the rear end to slip a little bit and not let the traction control cut be as significant, just because I'm comfortable with it. But anyways, let's go ahead and let this play all the way. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, let me know.